Good night. I hope that, thank you so much. I hope that this pledge inspires and offers hope to you as it does to me. We pledge to serve the people of Barbados at all times, to remain committed to our values and to each other, to work together to keep our party relevant, to build a better Barbados and a better life for our people. Thank you.
Na 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 na. Yeah, you will get over. We're gonna help you get over. Yeah, you feel the tip over. We're gonna help you get over. Hold on just a minute. This is what we call life. Let nothing break the spirit. Keep your eyes on the line. Don't walk away where there is hope. You've got the chance. It can be rough sometimes. Put it behind and move on and on. With your heart, with your soul and mind. No, you'll build in time. No rush. Believe in yourself and just know that you're gonna make it. Come on, we're gonna win this. It's all part of life. And just when you had enough, feel like giving up, hold on. Believe the good in life. You will survive. Be strong. And you will get over. We're gonna help you get over. Yeah. get over. Ah, yeah. Thank you very much.
Good day, everyone. The Barbados Labour Party remains faithful to the following 10 core principles, which are essential to achieving a truly just, equitable, and developed society in which all citizens can continue to flourish and realize their full potential. These are our principles. The Barbados Labour Party stands for strengthening the spiritual and cultural psyche of Barbadians in a way that enhances honesty and integrity, raises self-awareness, builds confidence and pride, fosters a sense of industry and responsibility, community and nationalism.
The Barbados Labour Party stands for an acceptable quality of life for all, including a standard of living below which no citizen must be allowed to fall.
The Barbados Labour Party stands for good and transparent governance.
The Barbados Labour Party stands for improving the livelihoods of all our people and widening economic enfranchisement.
The Barbados Labour Party stands for fair treatment and just reward for all, workers and investors alike.
The Barbados Labour Party stands for the empowerment of all people through continued access to quality, universal, free education.
The Barbados Labour Party stands for universal access to quality health care and access to affordable land and housing.
The Barbados Labour Party stands for development in a sustainable manner that protects our natural and built environments.
The Barbados Labour Party stands for fostering civility, inclusiveness, and respect for diversity among our citizens.
The Barbados Labour Party stands for achieving and maintaining global excellence in all of our endeavors. Thank you.
Thank you.
The Barbados I would like to see in the near future is one that everyone is afforded equal opportunity, living in more love among each other, and stop letting the religious dogmas separate us, because at the end of the day, we could travel on different roads and reach the same destination.
And when you are able to love an individual, despite who he is, she is, whatever their religious affiliation is, when we preach love, we are preaching what we're supposed to be doing. We're actually doing what we're supposed to.
We need to make sure that everybody else in the society understands that, you know, we have to look out for each other and we have to be our brother's keeper.
My ideal Barbados is a place where people appreciate themselves and their culture.
If we want a better Barbados, we need to get our act together as children, put some spiritual standards there, because morality is the funnest in life when we all check it. You know, we must teach the youth morals.
I think people have a sense of being a bit lost now, so we need to find out what we need to do, what kind of Barbados do we really want, how do we get there. I think there's a lot of enthusiasm and energy and ideas out there. We just need to pull it all together.
When you talk about a future for Barbados and a near future, we need to, one, holistically involve everybody, their opinions, their thoughts, and their behaviors in the whole pattern. Behavior change is critical.
Basically, one, like how I grew up in, you know, that's all I could think about, where we look out for one another, and, you know, it's just love. You just feel love.
So finding a way to instilling a sense of importance in our young people, that they truly have the capacity to change the world, and we will provide the opportunities in whatever way. I think that's one of the things I really would like to see.
When we appreciate ourselves and we appreciate our stories and we value ourselves, I think that is when we will start having the courage to pursue artistic careers, the courage to, you know, do something unconventional, to preserve our stories, you know, preserve the buildings. To have a Barbados who loves itself like that, and who are so willing to share their stories to the world, that would be a dream for me.
Protocol already established. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is often said our people are truly our greatest resource. And we, the Barbados Labour Party, have confidence in the ability of our people to be resilient in the face of many challenges. We are proud of our contribution to nation building as a party by being a catalyst for change. We moved Barbados from an elite plantation society to a social democracy where all persons can feel invested in our national identity. Tonight, we fundamentally recommit to our core values of family, community, and country. To do so, we must celebrate and unify around what it means to be a Barbadian. To be Barbadian, we believe that we must not only appreciate and pursue the rights our country affords us, but also accept the responsibilities that Barbados demands of us towards our families, each other, our communities, and the entire nation. Only then will we move forward united as one people. We must be compassionate, empathetic, and inclusive. Above all else, it is essential that we look out for each other, especially for those whom we consider to be most vulnerable. Let us value and promote our national friendliness. Be civil to each other and to all who visit our shores. The Barbados Labour Party believes these aforementioned values are hallmarks of a good and humane society. Last, but by no means least, we must deal with our national self-identity. It affects our self-confidence as a people and also influences how we respect ourselves and, by extension, others. It affects how we care for each other, how we treat our families, our communities, and those we interact with in schools, churches, and in the workplace. It affects our attitudes towards giving service, our work ethic, and our productivity as a nation in terms of how much and how well we produce. It affects our preparedness to take risks in investing at home and abroad and how we deal with the rest of the world. Our party stands for building confidence in our people, and we will develop a happier, more empowered, just, transparent, inclusive, and caring society. Every Barbadian, whether by birth or descent like myself, or choice, and whether living here or abroad, has the undeniable right and duty to be involved in the transformation of our beloved nation. This evening, I want to implore you to join us on this journey as we nurture in every Barbadian the spirit of patriotism and the ethic of national service that mirrors the very best qualities we've seen exhibited by our national heroes. Good night, ladies and gentlemen, and may God bless every one of you.
I think good governance means that, it should be easy to understand what's going on. We need to be spoken to, not spoken at. You need to treat us, we need to be treated like we understand what you're talking about. Don't talk over our heads. Make everything a little bit more easy for us to be able to get access to. Talk to us like we are the intelligent people that we are.
A good government is one that recognizes the obvious. And I'll give you a very basic example. I drive along Warren's area every day and there's a pothole by the roundabout. I'm saying some minister passes there. And we are so small, we are small enough that we can be networked. Let's fix it.
Persons are put to lead a country, not just to lead a number of individuals who are there that are forming that part of government. Government is more than just those who sit in Parliament, whether in the House of Assembly or the Senate. Government is about leading the people of a country.
We the people are the police or the politicians, and we don't enforce that right.
A good government is a government that takes into account, one, is that the people that they're serving. They're serving the people. They are individuals that's been elected by the people, so therefore they have to serve the interests of the people.
It's not about you when you get in, it's about the people. The people should always be main priority for our government, as far as I am concerned.
So a good government, I consider a good government a government that plays the role of listening to the people, adhering to what the people say, and taking effective steps to address the concerns of those within their society, whether they might be looked upon as the lower economic part of society or the higher economic part or middle class.
Civil society in Barbados is tremendously developed. In 50 years, we have a civil society that is, you know, as dense and as full of ideas as any in the world. But we need now to find ways of institutionally tapping in to the civil society, because it's full of ideas and intellect and so on, and wisdom.
In the history of a political party, it will produce many manifestos. This is because manifestos reflect the policies and priorities of a government in waiting and must change, adapt, even metamorphose as the times and circumstances require. And so a new manifesto is expected for every election. In the life of a political party, it is expected that it will only have one covenant, a single solemn pledge to the people. This is because a covenant gives expression to the principles which will guide it. While policies change, principles will not. Manifestos change, and a covenant will not. In 2008, the Democratic Labour Party, in their manifesto, committed to principles of good governance. But these commitments were like words written in water and never found expression in practice, and the promise now long forgotten. We have observed the great failings of our time, and the decaying thread that runs through each of them is an inadequate or poor system of governance. But it can never be too late to do the right thing or too late to turn the wrong things around. Historically, good governance is what used to distinguish Barbados from most countries in the world. And the Barbados Labour Party has been known for ushering periods of good governance after periods of turmoil and failure. But notwithstanding our proud history, our party must not be and is not too timid to be willing to commit today and for all time to internationally recognized principles of good governance. In summary, these principles are to permit everyone to have a voice in the decision-making processes of government, to provide everyone with timely, accurate information, to hold decision makers accountable for the choices that they make in our names. Good governance is transparent and responsive. It follows the rule of law and respects the independence of the judiciary. It is effective and efficient. It is equitable and inclusive. It is the anchor for social, environmental, and economic justice. As a party, we believe that we must create a space for direct democracy through which our citizens can become more involved in the governance of our nation. This involvement will not only be achieved through greater consultation, but it will also include greater participation in and outside of Parliament. Our democracy will be strengthened by the reform of our government, recognizing that there must be appropriate checks and balances between the Parliament and the executive. We must also address the issue of financing of campaigns and fairness in our electoral system to protect the will and the choice of Barbadians. There is a cost to democracy, and the state must be willing to pay for it. There must also be an expanded social partnership to include civil society and the church to address governance issues in a holistic manner. Information is also critical to development. We make a commitment to transparent government and making accurate information available in a timely and easily accessible manner. Barbados must not be held hostage to powerful or vested interests, whether from government, the private sector, or the civil society. We are committed to creating an independent mechanism to protect the rights of Barbadians and to ensure their unfettered access to information within the rule of law. I wish to say that we have heard the voices of Reverend Lashley, we've heard the voice of Hosea Brown, Andre Babb, and all of the individuals who've been brave enough to stand and be photographed saying what, in their view, good governance is. And we hold those opinions dearly and pledge to honor them. Thank you.
Dale Marshall is the Barbados Labour Party's spokesman on governance. We now invite Mr. Dwight Sutherland, MP for St. George South, and Mr. Ryan Strawn, candidate for Christchurch East Central, to the two lecterns to present to you Dwight Sutherland reading the pledge of our public servants and Ryan Strawn following BLP's plan for fiscal governance.
Good night to all. Our pledge to public servants. Barbados's reputation as a well-ordered, progressive social democracy has been earned in no small measure by dint of the fortitude, determination, and hard work of generations of capable, professional, and patriotic public servants. When we speak of national heroes, the Barbados Labour Party asserts that public servants are the true unsung heroes of our project of nation building. Yet the structures, system, and decision-making processes our public sector inherited half a century ago are no longer robust or nimble enough to sustain our nation's progress into the 21st century. Our public servants are demoralized and tired of struggling within inadequate and anachronistic rules and procedures, tired of being given no scope to advise or innovate, tired of being blamed for the inefficiencies caused by the lack of strategic policies, resources, and tools to do the job. Above all, they are tired of being bashed and ridiculed at the highest levels of government. Our teachers, our nurses, our police, and other uniformed workers, social workers, sanitation workers, and indeed all public servants are close to breaking point. The Barbados Labour Party pledges always to treat our public servants with dignity and respect. Our country cannot function without you. and you cannot function to the best of your ability in an atmosphere of acrimony and humiliation. We will work with you and with the unions in a truly consultative process to return our public service to the high levels of efficiency and productivity it once enjoyed, to help you to understand the critical role you must each play in building Barbados, and to empower you to fulfill your true potential. More than ever before, Barbados needs a strong, self-confident, highly motivated public service to deliver to all our citizens a better, faster, more responsive, and more caring government. Together, with commitment and restored trust, we can make it happen. And finally, to our workers, the Barbados Labour Party is committed to the right of our people to decent work. We have forged through common struggle and our historical legacy with the Barbados Workers Union a symbiotic relationship of solidarity with workers' movements. We consider a constructive industrial relations climate a prerequisite for stability and development. Workers must be treated fairly and with respect at all times. We will seek to negotiate for greater mobility of our workers in and out of CARICOM so as to continuously expand their opportunities. I thank you. That's our pledge to our public servants. Over to Ryan.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The following is how the Barbados Labour Party will prioritize government spending. The Barbados Labour Party is recognized nationally, regionally, and globally for its strength in governance. Our time in office, even during challenging economic times, is characterized by growth and development, due mainly to our ability to articulate clear strategies and prioritize initiatives that will lead to growth, stability, and social transformation. The Barbados Labour Party believes that if we are to preserve our stability, which is our country's major asset, and if we are to transform our nation, we must prioritize the demands on public expenditure. The following must be the absolute priorities a government must follow in a 21st century Barbados. Number one, maintain law and order, security, and public safety. Simply put, Barbadians must feel safe in their country. Number two, protecting public health and universal access to health care. Health is the wealth of a nation. Without health, we have nothing. Three, empower our people through free, formal, and non-formal education, ready access to information, and the bolstering of a national identity while protecting and nurturing the most vulnerable amongst us. Access to education remains key to empowerment of a people. The journey is not over and should not be betrayed. 4, preserving our public spaces, protecting and enhancing our land, marine, and built environment in the national interest, and ensuring our people have access to affordable land and housing. We have led in sustainable development and must continue to do so. 5, protecting consumers and our workers, creating an environment within our productive sectors that is dedicated to creating opportunities, allowing for a fair return on investments to those investing and creating opportunities for wealth creation for all of our people. We, the Barbados Labour Party, are about economic enfranchisement of our people. 6, safeguarding our national identity at home and abroad, and providing for our interaction with the rest of the world through effective diplomacy and strategic trade engagements. We aim to punch above our weight globally. These are the priorities needed more than ever to propel our country forward. These are the priorities which will inform how we, the Barbados Labour Party, as a government, will assess claims on public expenditure and how we will shape our policy agenda. This clarity of purpose, undergirded by capable hands, restores confidence in our country, both at home and abroad. I thank you.
My ideal Barbados is one where all of the talents that we have access to everything that we need to further develop ourselves and to make Barbados the #1 island in the Caribbean, as it very rightly should be.
Is education. I remember my mother, she would go and clean people's houses. She was a maid in government. And on her meager salary, my father, he was a mason, meager salaries, they were able to send me to university.
The people with disabilities and parking spots, and that's been a very hot button topic for a lot of people recently. We need to make sure that everybody else in the society understands that, you know, we have to look out for each other and we have to be our brother's keeper.
Education is fundamental to our society, from preschool to tertiary level, because we depend on human capital. We're a knowledge society. So we cannot ever get away from education. Is not a social expenditure, it's a capital investment in our future. So we need to think how, obviously it's become very expensive, so we need to think how can we afford it, how do we rethink our educational policies and so on.
Honestly, to make things a bit more affordable, because the average Bajan is not rich, doesn't have a lot of money. And if we can't afford the basic stuff, where are we going to go? What's going to happen? I really want people to start helping people. There are people out there that need help, they need assistance, and they're dying when they don't have to.
One of the main areas that needs to be attacked also is economics, dealing with employment. As far as allowing for the private as well as the public sector opportunity for individuals now to have a chance at one, maybe possibly a bit higher pay grade. Because you have a lot of people at what you might call the bottom of the totem pole who are working on a weekly basis, and they're making a salary that as soon as they look around, they have to actually look forward to next week's salary because that salary can't really hold and maintain it.
This is my reality. I grew up in an environment like this, and they made it out. They look around my friends, and I'm the only one to really, you know, coming from a small community in St. John, I'm the only one to have gone to university in my entire neighborhood. All the little young guys I grew up running around with and playing cricket and football in the field. I don't want to be the exception to the rule. This should be the norm. We need to restructure our education system from our traditional subjects and look at not just teaching children to learn subjects, but teaching children to solve problems.
The vision for a better society. He will be followed by Ms. Cynthia Ford, MP for St. Thomas, and Mr. Edmund Hinkson, NP for St. James North. Let us welcome Lieutenant Colonel Jeffrey Boston.
Our vision for a better society is inextricably linked to our commitment as a party to establishing a social covenant with our people, a covenant that seeks to transform our nation and preserve our stability. The Barbados Labour Party believes that our people have a right to live in a strong and cohesive society, a good society, and we must aspire to provide the following: access to quality, affordable land and housing, decent, livable wages, access to affordable, wholesome food that allows Barbadians to eat a nutritionally balanced diet so that they may pursue healthy lifestyles. Universal access to quality free education, to quality health care, access to recreation and sports facilities in our communities, to cultural and arts training, to modern information and communication technology island-wide, to affordable and reliable transportation services throughout the length and breadth of this fair land. We are committed to the preservation of our natural and built environments, to maintaining Barbados as a safe and socially just society with adequate supportive mechanisms to mitigate economic hardship of those who find themselves without work. For the Barbados Labour Party, poverty is not a reality reflected in our principles of a good society. We recognize the dearth of ideas and opportunities that prevail, and that poverty for the first time since independence has increased in our fair land. We totally reject defeatist notions that the current context is beyond the capability of a government to redress, certainly not beyond the capability of a Barbados Labour Party government. Our middle class is at risk of pauperization. Indeed, some would say that not at risk, that they're experiencing pauperization. But we must urgently and aggressively reverse this most unfortunate development. We pledge as a party to preserve and expand our social policy architecture such that our delivery of service is people-centered and not fragmented by narrow departmentalization. We must not squander the gains that have been made, so eloquently spoken of by Sir Louis and Liz. And we must rebuild our competitiveness through our main social platforms, health and education. We will promote Barbados as a hemispheric hub for investment in the provision of educational and health services. This will not only assist economic growth, but equally as important, will help us in our fight against poverty and social exclusion. We must complete the quiet revolution started by our great party to expand land ownership with respect to both plantation and non-plantation tenantries, and to foster greater home ownership island-wide. We will empower our people, that is the people of Barbados, by passing on greater responsibility to our citizens and communities, but do so in a fair manner which truly deepens democracy. We will pursue a program of local governance that is not subject to the arbitrary dictates of politicians, but nurtures volunteerism and public service. We will also encourage the revitalization of non-governmental and community-based organizations by giving fiscal incentives for novel ideas that address needs of the community level, to better promote social entrepreneurship. At the same time, we will also deepen the requirements for transparency and accountability of these non-governmental and community-based organizations. We commit ourselves to expanding opportunities for all and for creating greater equity in our society. The success of our people must not depend on who they know or where they were born, but what they know and how hard and how creatively and how fairly they are prepared to work. Comrades, distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, citizens of this country, raise your shoulders, raise your head, look at the tunnel, because there's some light at the end of this tunnel as we, the Barbados Labour Party, present our covenant of hope. Thank you.
Ms. Cynthia Ford, MP for St. Thomas, will now present to our children.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, colleagues, comrades and friends of the Barbados Labour Party, a blessed good night. Good night. Our pledge to our children. Our children are precious to us. It is to them that we owe the greatest responsibility. At all costs, we must love, nurture, and protect them. We pledge to develop and to place high priority on programs to strengthen the family and to provide formal parental education. We will encourage our communities to take responsibility for the general welfare and education of our children, for we accept that it truly does take a village to raise a child. That is why we must have strong community groups that people believe in and that parents trust. The Barbados Labour Party is concerned that current educational and social systems do not do enough to detect and support youth at risk. Consequently, violence in schools, juvenile delinquency, criminal behavior, wandering, and child sexual exploitation is on the increase. We remain concerned that our children need more money and more dedicated people. Our social systems and community organizations need to create a seamless referral network that is responsive to how our vulnerable adolescents access services. Youth-friendly programs must seek to engage supportive parents and vulnerable families. The ultimate gift that we give our children, however, is that of example. We must encourage our adults of the need for all of us to live by our values and to walk the walk. In how we speak and how we behave at times, if we are to lead our children on the right path to secure their future.
Edmund Hinkson, MP for St. James North, will now present to our young people.
To all of you, distinguished ladies and gentlemen here tonight, to witness the launch of our party's Covenant of Hope. Our pledge to our young people. The Barbados Labour Party will create a safe and nurturing environment within which our young people can grow to their maximum potential. We will provide for them the opportunities that will develop their character, competence, and personal responsibility traits that they will need to become successful adults. This would include, of course, mentorship of the youth, in terms of their interaction and networking, both with young people and their peers, as well as with their elders. Of course, part of the promotion of our youth and the assurance that they will have a promising future includes developing their moral values and their intellect and good habits and a strong sense of purpose. The world is different today than it was just a few years ago. The generation gap is wider today than it was a few years ago. But the change that we are experiencing can provide limitless opportunities for the creation of energy and enthusiasm of young people once they seize them. We in the Barbados Labour Party commit to maximizing the potential of our youth. We who are parents, who are teachers, who are mentors, have a duty to foster in our young Barbadians a new generation of confidence, a new generation of capable, multilingual, world-class citizens who can go out in the world and be global citizens and live anywhere in the world and be successful. We have to empower our young people with love and understanding and communicate with them, channel their hopes and aspirations in the right positive directions. We must also ground them in our traditional enduring Barbadian values which have sustained our progress as a nation and as a people and have kept us as a great country over the years. We in the Barbados Labour Party will give our young people the exposure wherever possible to travel and to recognize that they are truly global citizens. This will help build bridges of understanding among our youth and expand their thinking as to what is possible. The Barbados Labour Party will work every day to turn our positive vision for our young people into a reality and to help them achieve their full potential and to play their part in taking our country forward.
Cynthia Ford will present to our senior citizens, and she will be followed by Edmund Hinkson to our disabled.
Ladies and gentlemen, when I read about the children, they were asking me to refer to the employment they had before I became a politician. Indeed, I am now into the category where you truly fit our pledge to our senior citizens. Barbados is an aging society. Our senior citizens make up a sizable and growing percentage of our total population. Today's generation of retirees have no intention of withdrawing to their armchairs. On average, they are living longer, more productive, and more active lives in their golden years. The phenomenon of grey power is clearly an important force to be reckoned with in shaping our national policies for the present and the future. The Barbados Labour Party honors the dedicated and patriotic service that generations of our elders have rendered in the building of our nation. We cherish their presence among us and greatly respect the wise counsel of their experience. Our covenant with you, the senior citizens of Barbados, demands that we, 1, commit to the devising of sensitive policies to empower and support Barbadians in their senior years to allow you to maintain a decent quality of life in comfort and in dignity. No senior citizen should be left to exist in abject or genteel poverty. We will ensure that a system of identifying and assisting every elderly person who lives alone is created and implemented with the help of the non-governmental organizations and the churches. 2, keep an ongoing dialogue with groups like BARP so that our policies will be informed by broad consultation on the issues that affect them most directly, including health and nursing care, pensions and taxation, housing and reverse mortgages. 3, protect them by law from elder abuse and discrimination, whether by relatives or external caregivers. 4, value the unpaid work being done by our community of seniors, work that makes a significant contribution to our society. 5, promote active aging in Barbados. And 6, create avenues for mentorship with our young people to foster the exchange of ideas and transfer skills between generations.
We will now look at our pledge to our persons with disabilities. Of course, persons with disabilities comprise about 5% of the population of Barbados. They make up some of the most vulnerable people in our country. That has been shown by studies over the years. And therefore, we believe that it is our duty, it is in fact the duty of all of us, the government, employers, teachers, members of civil society, to provide a supportive environment in which people with disabilities are fully empowered and can realize their full potential like all other persons, like any other person, to live and learn and work and recreate and to be dignified and to live without discrimination. The technological advances of today's world and best practice recommendations make it possible for persons with disabilities to integrate fully into our Barbadian society, whether in our schools, our workplaces, our places of worship, or our leisure settings. And we in the Barbados Labour Party pledge here to bring this realism into the possible. We recognize as well that the caregivers of persons with disabilities invariably need financial support or occasional assistance, as many of the caregivers of persons with disabilities are unpaid. Many are women who bear a disproportionate burden of the whole area of looking after persons with disabilities. And the fact of the matter as well is that many persons with disabilities in our society come from the poorest of homes and are already born in families which have a financial disadvantage in terms of society. We will ensure that as a government that we will work with a revitalized and renewed civil society as well as with the church to ensure that respite care is available in Barbados to meet this critical need. We will examine how the government and society can best support persons with disabilities and their caregivers. The Barbados Labour Party pledges to use these recommendations and advances to maximize our ability to devise and implement a comprehensive and sensitive policies in support of persons with disabilities. We will, of course, involve persons with disabilities in the shaping and implementation and evaluation of such policies. And finally, as a commitment to improving the quality of lives of persons with disabilities. We, in fact, laid a resolution in Parliament in March last year calling for legislation to be passed in Barbados to improve the quality of life of persons with disabilities. Thank you.
I want to see Barbados become a free Wi-Fi zone. There are so many possibilities that will open up so many possibilities for business, e-commerce, and this is where government needs to play a role. We probably need a facilitating unit where you can help companies play more of their trade online. We need to have the youngsters coming out of secondary school fully compliant with the technology.
Well, I think the cutting edge of the economy will be the whole digital revolution and the cultural and creative industries. I mean, there's a lot of scope there. International rankings place Singapore, not surprisingly, first, but Barbados is 106. We need to be up in the first, certainly the first 50, even higher.
I would like the vendors on the street to be allowed to, apply the trade honestly, peacefully, truthfully.
Because I really want people to start helping people. There are people out there that need help, they need assistance, and they're dying when they don't have to.
And what we have to do at all costs is to avoid poverty. Investment in getting people out of poverty and stopping people falling into poverty is critical to our knowledge economy.
Things that could be made easier for me to play my trade is one, if an individual find themselves in a position, like I'm a small business owner, maybe streamlining the way an individual could be processed for maybe a small business loan, making the transition or the process a little bit more easier without a lot of red tape that's associated.
So the same way that England has been able to monetize its education for centuries, we can even go back to our primary education. Of course, we need to upgrade a lot of the plans, but we can sell education and make billions. You look at what University of London is doing in terms of their offshore law degrees. We have one of the best law degrees in the Commonwealth. Why isn't it packaged that people from anywhere in the Commonwealth can go online and listen to the top professors in law in the Commonwealth, getting their materials shipped to them right here from Barbados, and that's a separate business unit. University of London is doing it and making millions. So we can do that as well. I think our education is primed for monetization.
The Barbados Labour Party recognizes that to be a successful nation and to meet the needs of our people, our nation must achieve economic security and prosperity. We envision a Barbados in which high levels of economic well-being enable our people to choose the paths their lives will follow, with access to broad-based social welfare structures for those truly in need. We accept that a country will invariably face periods of economic adjustment and uncertainty. When this happens, the burden of adjustment must be shared fairly. But equally, when times of plenty return, the bounty must be shared fairly among all of our citizens. This vision embraces a new economy built upon a foundation of a fair share for workers and adequate returns on private investment, effective employment of new technologies across the public and private sectors, a credible and efficient court and legal system, and access to diverse energy resources and information and communication technologies at competitive prices. Additionally, food and water security and the protection of our natural and built environments should support balanced economic growth and a secure future for generations to come.
For this vision to become a reality, We must continuously refresh and add new industries and sectors to our country's existing economic mainstays, not just to strengthen the economy, but also to widen its ownership base and provide decent work for all of our citizens. When we become the next government, the question that will inevitably confront us is how best can we build partnerships with our citizens through economic enfranchisement to ensure equitable access to critical public services and wealth creation for our people. In addition to supporting traditional economic drivers, the Barbados Labour Party believes in a modern, innovative, resilient economy that employs new technologies. We believe that we must be able to have investments in infrastructure and put in place the policy, legislative, and regulatory actions that make it easier for Barbadians to establish new businesses and grow existing ones. We believe in the development of a digital economy, including digital payments and cybersecurity laws and infrastructure, on a platform that guarantees free universal access to broadband internet for all Barbadians, facilitating new industry and improving the efficiency and quality of the public and private sectors of the economy. We believe in the creation of a professionals economy, one that supports educational development of Barbadians to internationally accredited professional standards in medical, legal, financial, engineering, creative, and other professions, and the export of professional services to the world, but in particular, to countries in which we have reached agreements that support trade in these services. The Barbados Labour Party believes in facilitating a youth and creative economy that capitalizes on the growing interconnections globally between sports, culture, entertainment, and digital technology. We believe in building a visitors economy rather than simply a tourism sector, one that revitalizes our traditional tourism sector by converting the Barbados brand into one that exceeds visitors' expectations and is highly competitive in attracting investment in a transparent manner for the continuous renewal of this sector. The Barbados Labour Party will also support an educational and health economy that discovers and develops new avenues of value creation in these areas to establish Barbados as a hemisphere hub. We believe in developing a mature economy that utilizes the wisdom, knowledge, and experience of thousands of retired persons domestically and within CARICOM and the Commonwealth, while allowing them to enhance their pensions. We believe that we must strive to enhance an energy economy, one that efficiently utilizes new sources of clean, sustainable, renewable, and non-renewable energy, and provides new and better opportunities to workers and communities while protecting our environment. We believe in developing an innovation economy that builds on the skills and creativity of our people and the opportunity for social entrepreneurship, and that focuses on research and development. The Barbados Labour Party believes in revolutionizing our agricultural economy, including our sugarcane industry, by better fusing access to technology, research, and to capital, not relying on the plantation model for production, but promoting the consumption and export of viable agricultural products and the better utilization of land towards ensuring greater food security, food sovereignty, and export earnings. We believe in creating a maritime economy that preserves the oceans around us, transforms our fishing industry, and expands other areas of economic development related to our vast marine environment. We believe in building a green and integrated economy anchored on the three pillars of sustainable development: society, economy, and environment, in which our long-term prospects are not compromised or jeopardized by short-term actions for unsustainable gains, and to invest in sustainable environmental practices and policies which reorganizes how we live, how we work, how we address waste and conservation, and how we ensure the responsible use of renewable technologies, which in short means a resounding no to projects such as Cahill. We believe in fostering the enhancement of our physical infrastructure to urgently develop our water security along with air, sea, and road transportation systems. The Barbados Labour Party has a new vision for comprehensive water and waste management and modernization of our transportation systems. Economic transformation must therefore begin at home to allow Barbadians to enjoy an assured quality of life. We do not subscribe to the pervasive view that we as a people lack entrepreneurial skills and drive, or that we cannot punch above our weight. This view has been used to justify focus on traditional sectors and to deny small and micro enterprises, vendors, and farmers access to capital to grow their businesses. In every community across this island, there are small business owners, food, fruit, and clothing vendors, beauticians, shop and bar owners, farmers, landscapers, plumbers, mechanics, and other entrepreneurs who take calculated risks every day. The Barbados Labour Party has confidence in our small business sector. We created a number of mechanisms to finance micro enterprises and to implement fiscal incentives to bolster credit unions and to create over 100,000 credit union shareholders today. We stand by the important value of small and micro enterprises at the community level and in growing the economy. And we will continue to invest in training and capacity building, removing the impediments to growth and expansion, and in providing accessible financing for this sector.
In the future, for us to ensure that we are strict guardians of our heritage, we must fully embrace perhaps the most important covenant of hope, which is the determination of the critical size of the public sector. The governed and those who govern in the future must pledge in mutual loyalty that to build a better Barbados and a better life for our people, we must first know who we are and what we stand for. Of the things that determine who we are, the most important thing, in fact, is that we always protect the poor and vulnerable. We must not compromise on making education and health care universally accessible to all. This can only be achieved if we understand how to establish and maintain a sustainable public sector, befitting of the modern times, that helps to create a social and economic environment which expands the quality of life of all Barbadians. In this regard, the covenant of hope is paramount to achieving together what neither the private sector nor the public sector can achieve alone: sustainable economic growth and development. It must be recognized and respected that growth in our productive sectors comes primarily from the private sector. The focus of the government and its agencies ought to be to support, facilitate, regulate, and partner with the traditional and non-traditional private sector where necessary. The key to sustaining the public sector is economic growth. This generates additional revenue for the government and removes the need to frequently introduce new taxation and increase existing tax rates, as happened over the last 8 years. Furthermore, economic growth that is ideal expands the private sector faster than the public sector, which generates the sustainability of both sectors and reduces the relative but not absolute size of the public sector. A public sector that is built on sustainable economic growth and development is able to withstand the shock of an inevitable short-term economic downturn. In such circumstances, there is no need to lay off public sector workers. This highlights the need for proper economic leadership and management that is built on principles and vision, which is the hallmark of our covenant of hope. In a collective sense, the expansion of the quality of life of Barbadians must embrace a vision that builds upon a new national consciousness that you heard of, born out of good governance, a better society, and a new economy. In all of our endeavors, we must meet standards that allow us to engage the world. Fundamental to our national economic growth objectives will be the establishment of a high target rate of growth, which we will achieve within the following framework: a responsible macroeconomic strategy that targets export growth and foreign reserves accumulation, a simple, transparent, and fair tax and expenditure strategy that is focused on fiscal stability, economic growth, and national debt reduction. A financial strategy that helps the establishment of new private institutions and supports existing ones to better mobilize domestic savings for domestic investments, while adequately addressing international challenges. An asset management strategy that is focused on using public sector assets more productively and innovatively. We will discuss these things another time. A digital strategy that uses ICT to improve citizens' access to information, enhance the efficiency of our public and private economy and consumer choices, and to facilitate new industries, reduce and improve bureaucracy and the delivery of government services and decisions, and to increase and enhance national productivity. A citizen strategy that records and removes bureaucratic impediments to doing business and the delays in the court system, and gives our Fair Trading Commission and other consumer bodies sharper teeth to protect consumers and support reduced costs. A jobs and investment strategy that reflects the strategies above, along with a credible suite of fiscal, procurement, and regulatory policies to support innovation and small business. An international strategy which promotes Barbados as the convenient geographical launch platform for entry into the wider Caribbean and Latin America. Our economic vision will be the basis for the delivery of better livelihoods for all, the restoration of confidence by local and international investors, and more equitable distribution of income, wealth, and opportunity in Barbados. Thank you.
The driver of MA 8606, please move your car. You're blocking someone in. MA 8606.
One thing that's very key to hope in the Barbadian society is good leadership. A leader who could inspire everyone to want to do good for themselves, to want to help others, to look at the bigger picture and to help with development. We do need that leader to step up.
We passing on the baton to them and they are finishing the race, and we have to pass on a good, disciplined baton.
We have to work together. Not one man railing over everybody else, but together as a team.
We just all need to come together, one love, one goal, as a team, and look to the bigger picture, and just try to put our differences aside and realize that we are working for the betterment of our people and not us as individuals. And once we do that, everybody can benefit.
The impact of Rihanna is phenomenal. I go to Argentina, people say, welcome, where are you from? I say Barbados. They say, oh, Rihanna, and that's not something to be understated. I think Rihanna has given her generation a lot of confidence, because they look to her and they say, wow, it's possible.
In order to see a better world, you have to be a better person yourself. So if you don't believe that the world can be better, that means you don't believe that you can be better within yourself. So you have to be the change you would like to see.
My personal hope for Barbados is that we can have the kind of leadership in this country that will take Barbados forward. A leadership that would cause the people to understand yet again who they are. A leadership that would give people confidence in themselves, confidence in those who will lead them, that they are not there to get what they want for themselves, but that I want to take you on board and I want to take you into a land of promise, not just promises that are pie in the sky, but promises that are real, promises that can be carried out, promises that can bring not only the few, but for all Barbadians to be able to come into that place of understanding who they are and where they can go.
By all rights, we should be just another failed post-colonial state. We're tiny, resource poor, We have a horrible history behind us. We should not work. So what makes Barbados work? The high level of social trust. Barbadians have a strong belief in this country. And I believe if they're offered hope, if there's any hope that they feel they can do anything, they're willing to make sacrifices to do it, but they need some guidance, some leadership, and some hope.
We got to this stage as a nation because we didn't just sit back and say, this is Barbados, we're going to take it as it is. We got to this stage as a nation because we saw a better Barbados and we fought for the things that we wanted to make sure that our forefathers, that people like me, had an opportunity to be even better. We owe it to everybody who comes after us to make sure that we keep making Barbados a better place for everybody.
Mr. Jordan will present for us the BLP's vision for engaging the world, and he will be followed by Mr. Kerry Simmons, MP for St. James Central.
Madam Leader, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, our pledge to the diaspora. The Barbados Labour Party recognizes the meaningful engagement of the diaspora as a fundamental pillar for engaging the world. Barbadians are everywhere, and the Barbados Labour Party's commitment to inclusivity speaks to you. Many of you have left our shores. You've gained or shared expertise, raised families, and generally have contributed to the building of many societies around the world as upstanding citizens. Wherever you live, you are first and foremost, for us, Barbadians who love their country and want to see it prosper. Our overseas Barbadians, our parents, grandparents, children, uncles, aunts, cousins, are no better informed and more up to date on developments in Barbados than ever before. Information and communication technologies have effectively blurred the lines between Barbadians who live on our island and those who live abroad. In the Barbados Labour Party, we make no distinction between the two. As a party that is guided by an understanding of history, we scan the continuum of time and recognize the tremendous contribution our diaspora has made to the development of Barbados. Journeying to Britain, Panama, Guyana, the United States of America, Canada, and the wider Caribbean, and even further afield, many of you have braved harsh realities and made sacrifices for the benefit of yourselves and the relatives you left behind. We also recognize that today you continue to contribute in many meaningful ways, too numerous to count, such as by your remittances, your investments, your unpaid labor as ambassadors for your country, your liberal sharing of skills, the knowledge and experience you have in your fields of excellence, and your abiding concern for our welfare. And as a tourism practitioner, I have to include the funds you leave with us when you visit your homeland. 2 decades ago, a Barbados Labour Party government became the first party to recognize the importance and value of our diaspora, and we created a special facility to incentivize and support Barbadians who wanted to return home in retirement, called FERN, or the Facilitation Unit for Returning Nationals. The project has evolved over the years, but we remain conscious that much more can be done to engage you directly in social and economic development opportunities in Barbados, whether or not you choose formally to relocate. It is our covenant to you, our diaspora, that we will continually engage you directly in ways that you can be a part of the transformation of Barbados. We covenant with you in a true sense of partnership and common cause. Thank you.
Distinguished party leader, colleague members of parliament, ladies and gentlemen of the diplomatic corps, ladies and gentlemen all. A few years ago, a former Secretary General of the United Nations, Mr. Kofi Annan, made the observation that this tiny microstate that we call Barbados was able to punch way above its weight class. Obviously, very few people who are sober would make a similar observation today. But that observation was able to be made at all was not a matter of happenstance or serendipity. The reality is that for successive administrations through the years, Barbados has practiced a diplomacy not of power between and among nations, but rather a diplomacy of peaceful pursuit of coexistence and some prosperity. Under the distinguished leadership of Dame Billy Miller, who is with us here this evening, in the last Barbados Labour Party administration, Barbados's foreign policy for the first time transcended those limited and narrow boundaries. And we reached a stage where we added to our diplomacy a diplomacy of economic development. And this was spearheaded by an effort across the English-speaking Caribbean in order to have legislated in every single English-speaking country of CARICOM a single market and economy framework. This covenant of hope rededicates and recommits the Barbados Labour Party towards continuing the work of building out and completing the work of the built-in agenda of the Caribbean single market and moving us towards the work of a Caribbean single market and economy. And you may ask why we place an emphasis on that type of approach. And the answer is very simple. Because we believe philosophically that the best interest of Barbados, the best interest of Barbados's professionals, the best interest of Barbados's business persons and their companies, the best interest of Barbados's entrepreneurial class is inextricably linked, hand in hand, with the best interests of the Caribbean community. And so the brothers and sisters of the Caribbean community and the market that they offer to us and to our business people and to our products is fundamental to us. But we go a step further and we say to you that we also see ourselves as global citizens, and that a Barbadian business person must transcend just the narrow confines of either Barbados or this single market and economy region, and must seek to position himself and his product, whatever that product may be, into the wider global arena. And in order to do so, there is no better practice wicket for understanding, learning, developing a skill in the disciplines and the intricacies of international trade law, and its regulations, which change from year to year and become more and more complicated from year to year, than to begin by practicing right here in the arena at home within the Caribbean single market. But Barbados's interests are not just simply caught up in the disciplines of international trade. As a first order of business, this covenant recommits the Barbados Labour Party to working with domestic industries in order to make sure that our foreign policy promotes and advances the transformation of the Barbados economy via the development of our domestic industries and domestic products, whatever those products may be. Whether it is a cultural industry where you are limited only by your capacity to imagine, or whether it is the production of a skill and offering of a service, or whether it is that you manufacture a good, the reality is that we need to make sure that Barbados's product is differentiated, is branded, is promoted vigorously into the global arena, is set aside and set apart as something special and something worthy of being seen as a bastion of excellence that is capable of competing and standing alongside any other product to be found anywhere else in the world. And that obviously means that we have to fit hand in glove the domestic policy with the foreign policy. Above and beyond that, there is a need for us to be increasingly nimble. We have had the distinguished leadership in this party of Sir Louis Tull and Dame Billy, as I just indicated, who have been excellent stewards of Barbados's foreign policy. But a new era is upon us. Old alliances are changing rapidly. New alliances are being formed equally rapidly. And it just will not do for Barbados not to be sufficiently aggressive, assertive, and nimble, and to continue to find itself outside of the gates, looking in, while substantial opportunities are being created and presented for other economies which compete with us and are basically of a similar size, GDP, etc. To make life very easy for you so you understand specifically what I'm talking about, when Dame Billy and I would have left the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, our technical staff were already at work trying to build a trading agreement with Canada. Today, that trading agreement has not come to pass, but a Trans-Pacific Partnership has been created where countries of the Pacific Islands, which are very similar in shape, style, and economy to what we have, and who have similar product offerings to those which we have, are now part of a Trans-Pacific Partnership, having access to the market in Canada, and through Canada to the United States of America, while Barbados continues to sit on the outside and watch these things happen. That simply will not cut it. And part of the recommitment and rededication that we make to you via this covenant of hope is the transformation of Barbados's economic fortunes via aggressive and assertive use of its foreign policy. It is important for me to make two final points. One is that the foreign policy of Barbados must also see us sitting at the desk and the tables internationally to protect those things that are critical to us, our ocean space. We must also protect our environment. We must protect our climate. We have to find partnerships with countries that are like-minded on specific issues and share the positions that we hold and are equally dedicated to the defense of those things that we have traditionally held dear in this country. And the final point I would want to make to you is that throughout the history of this island, we have, as a country, always stood shoulder to shoulder with those who are downtrodden, underprivileged, defenseless, oppressed, repressed, suppressed, you name it. And we didn't do so because of a policy of expedience or opportunism. We did so because it is basic humanity. That is the Barbadian way, to say in the corridors of power to whosoever may be trampling on the rights of the oppressed party that that is a wrong thing to do. And we recommit ourselves to going to wherever those corridors of power will take us, and to speaking truth to power wherever that power is to be found, in order to make it clear that the Barbadian way can and will prevail, and that we will stand in defense of human rights, we will stand in defense of good governance, we stand in defense of democracy, and we stand in defense of social justice. And whensoever those values seek to be compromised by whosoever seeks to compromise them, then the voice of Barbados, we commit to you, will be heard in defense of those fundamentals. And with those few words, I want to say to you that I think that that should adequately once again capture the minds of the international community and put this country once again in the minds of that community as being a natural leader punching above its weight.